Imagine if you didn't have to spend thousands on fertilizers. Hello and welcome back to KILIMO Diaries. I am your host, Sandra Wahito. Now today I am joined by Peter, who does various things like vermiculture. So I'll let him introduce himself, tell us who he is, how he started, and of course what vermiculture is. Peter, karibu.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm very happy to host you here in my farm.
Thank you very much.
My name is Peter Kanyagia. I'm the owner of Joe Redworm Farm. Actually, it's Joe Redworm Farm, Kenya. We are specialists in vermiculture.
Yes.
And vermiculture is composting organic waste using earthworms.
Nice.
There are many different types of earthworms.
Yes.
And the best earthworm for composting is called the redworms.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So how did you even start rearing or even the redworm farm? What was the inspiration behind worms?
I started this vermiculture as a hobby to see how I can grow organic food. And after doing a lot of research, I found that earthworms compost waste and turn it into a very good compost, organic compost. Actually, there are two types of compost from the earthworm. Okay. There is the vermicompost, which is the solid compost, and the vermiliquid, which is the liquid foliar for growing crops.
Yes. All right. So as we get into these two, what exactly do redworms require now, even as they go into composting? What are the conditions or how do they thrive? And even where do you get the redworms themselves?
I think what we can say is that what are the requirements if you want to start this sort of business? Yes. The first requirement is that you must have the earthworms, or that one in particular, the redworm. Yeah. The redworm is one of the best composting earthworms you can get from the soil. Okay. Because of two things. The redworm multiply very quickly. So if you buy the worms, they can multiply very quickly so that they can be able to compost. Secondly, the redworm eats its own weight every day. Really? Yes. So if it can eat a lot of, if you have a lot of them, they'll eat a lot of compost, and you get a lot of compost. So those are the two reasons why we choose the redworm. Earthworms feeds on organic waste. What we mean by organic waste is that anything you are going to throw away which you don't want, in terms of organic, they can be able to eat it. So like your kitchen waste. Yes, we have kitchen waste. Yes. We are going to see the sort of kitchen waste which we use. Yes. The kitchen waste is very good because it has a lot of vegetables, waste vegetables, waste fruits. Yeah. So it's a very good balanced diet for the redworms. Yeah. And a lot of people, a few farmers who are doing kitchen garden feed their redworms with kitchen waste. Yes. The second type of food is that we use manure, livestock manure. Any livestock manure. Chicken, cow. Yes. But the best type of manure to feed is the cow dung manure. Cow dung and rabbit manure, goat manure. Yes. The other manure like chicken manure, pig manure, they are good, but initially they are a bit acidic. So you have to keep them for some times for them to reduce their acidity to be able to feed the worms. No wonder now the cow dung is better because the acidity is... Yes, it doesn't have a lot of acidity. The earthworm or the redworms are able to thrive better. But for the cow dung, because of the salt and we usually leave it for about a month outside. Okay. So that we can leach. Leach is the water coming out. So that the urine, which holds a lot of salt, will come out. Yes. So after a month, you can safely feed the worms. That is the second requirement. Yes. You can also feed them with waste from the farm, weeds, makwekwe. those are the, you know, they are plants.
Yes.
And in fact, the plants which you can feed rabbits, you can feed earthworms.
Nice.
So anything you feed rabbits with, those plants are good for the earthworms.
For the earthworm as well.
You can also feed them with the waste from slaughterhouse.
Really?
Yes, slaughterhouse. Ile matumbo inatoka hapo. Sijui you have ever seen them? Yes. If you can get them, you can be able to feed them.
Okay.
There are also some other factory waste, like juice factories, where there is a lot of waste. Those waste you can feed them.
Okay.
So there is a lot of varieties of food you can give them. But as you can notice, is that these are waste, which sometimes we throw away, or we leave them for the city council to come and pick.
And yet you can use them for the
And yet you can pick them.
Yes.
The third requirement is that you must decide on where you're going to put the earthworms.
Yes.
We usually put the earthworms in you can put them in any container.
Okay.
But there are some containers, or we call them beds, which are better than others.
For example?
For example, the easiest container to use for feeding, for breeding the earthworms is the blue plastic drum. And you are going to see it in a minute. The blue plastic drum, it is very good because it is hard. Okay. And it can last a long time. And it has a lot of space. You can also use, you can make your own container, you know, timber bed. And you are going to see timber beds like the ones where we are studying. Yes. It's made of timber, down and up. So that you can enclose the worms there. Okay. So that is another type of bed. Yes. The other type of bed is a concrete bed. You are going to see the concrete bed, which is a concrete, is a, you know, is a concrete thing. Yeah. Where it is about 4 feet to 5 feet wide. Length can be any length. From 10 feet to 30 feet. Yeah. In fact, you find in some of the big farms where they are doing vermicompost, you find that they have very long beds. Yeah. They can have 4 feet wide, 30 feet or 10 meters long. And they can have as many as possible depending on their scale of production. Yes. So there are different types of beds you can put the earthworms in. Yes. Now, the fourth requirement is that where you must have a structure. If you are going to use drums or timber beds, you must have a structure to hold those beds, so that they don't touch the ground, so that you can be able to harvest the vermiliquid. Okay. So probably you could take us now through the vermiliquid as we come to that, because we're in the composting section, the vermicompost. So how do you get the liquid out of now the red worms? The earthworms or the red worms cannot stays in a moist place. Okay. The inside of the bed has to be moist. Okay. Or the environment must be moist. Is that so you have to keep it. This? Not necessarily. This is to stop rain. Okay. You usually put water inside the bed. Oh, okay. So that the place can be moist. And when you are putting water, there is some excess water coming out, which cleans up the system, and it comes out as a very good vermiliquid. So if it's a drum, you must have a hole on one side where the vermiliquid will come out. And you'll see that one in a minute. Okay. For the concrete, we usually have pipes and a hole on one side where the vermiliquid get out, and we get it from there. So the vermiliquid is there. The vermicompost is after the earthworms have eaten the waste, they leave the vermicompost. So they eat the waste and then they leave the now vermicompost. Yes. Yeah. So how long does it take now for the compost to form? After how long? Is there a period of time we are expected to have now the vermicompost? Yes, there is. Because there are two stages in worm farming. Okay. The first stage, or there are two stages in vermiculture. The first stage is called vermiculture, where you multiply the worms. After buying the worms, you multiply the worms to a level where they will be able to work for you.
Okay.
So if you buy something like 1 kg, you go and multiply them. And after about 2 to 3 months, you can have about another, they'll multiply to about 5 kg.
Wow. Of course, with you feeding them.
Yes, after about 3 months.
About 3
so
months.
It takes 3 months.
Okay.
We usually advise customers to start with 5 kgs.
Okay.
So that you can get more earthworms. And they'll be able to compost more waste.
Yes.
So you multiply 5 kg. In another 3-4 months, they'll be about 20 to 30 kg. Because they multiply very quickly.
Yeah, yes.
Then after they have multiplied to the level, you'll be able to compost.
Amazing. So next we will be talking about, or rather we'll be seeing the worms themselves, seeing how we can get the vermi-liquid. But before that, we'll be taking a quick break. We'll be right back.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. For those who are joining us, we are Joe's Redworm Farm, Kenya. And here with Joe, we're speaking about what vermiculture is, what vermicomposting and vermi-liquid is. Now, before we get into, looking at the worms, we'll head into, as a farmer, once you purchase these earthworms, then what? So Joe will take us through that process. So yeah, Joe, so once we get the redworms, what is the process like afterwards?
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, once you have the redworms, you need to know how you are going to start the process of breeding them.
Yes.
Now, the first thing you have decided is what sort of a bed you want to put them.
Yes.
Let's take the scenario where you have the blue plastic drum.
Yes.
The blue plastic drum, as we are going to see, is one whole drum is cut into two, so that we have two.
Yes.
So you can use the half to start with.
Yeah.
Now, when you are starting, we would like to give the earthworms very ideal environment so that they can be able to grow and to breed. And we have found out from our research that we can feed earthworms, or we can start the bed with old cartons.
Okay.
Old cartons.
Old cartons.
We put the carton in water, cut them into 2-3 small pieces of wet pieces. Now, the benefit of this carton is that cartons have very small holes inside. And when you put them inside the bed, they'll provide a lot of air to the worms. Secondly, cartons hold a lot of moisture.
Yes.
So they'll make the environment moist. Finally, the cartons rot and it becomes food for the worms. Actually, cartons are made from wood waste.
Oh wow.
So, and that when it rots, it becomes food. So at the bottom of the drum, we put about 3 inches deep of cartons.
Okay.
If it's a 200 liter drum cut into two, we usually put a 20-liter container, doo moja, ya macartons.
Okay.
Tunakata, we put them in the drum. We put the cartons in the drum, half drum.
Yes.
That will be a very good bed. We call it a bed. Although it's food, we call it a bed.
Yeah.
Because the worms will like to actually
Be in that space.
to be in that environment.
Yes, yes, yes.
On top of the bed, on top of the cartons, we mix the cow dung manure
Yes.
and the vegetable waste, or the kitchen waste or vegetable waste,
Yes.
any organic waste, we mix it with the manure
Yes.
at a ratio of 50 to 50.
Okay.
This is to give us a good diet for the worms. We put the mix there in the half drum.
Yes.
After putting it there, we make sure the place is moist, but not wet. There's a big difference between wet and moist. Wet is when you find a lot of water standing.
Yes.
Moist is that you not see any water, but the place is moist.
It's moist, yes.
That is the best environment for the worms.
Okay.
So after putting those ones, you introduce the worms in the bed.
Oh, so you just put them.
Yeah, then the worms will disappear because the environment is good. Actually, because the worms do not like light, they'll disappear inside.
Oh, they'll seep in.
Yes, yes.
Wiggle into the
Yes,
side.
yes. And because they like the smell of food, they'll be very grateful to go inside.
Yes.
But you not see them on top because of they don't like light.
Yes. No wonder we have the beds covered. Yes. Yes.
So after the worms have disappeared, and we are sure that the place is moist, we can look for an old gunia or carton and cover it. This is to protect the worms from light.
Yeah.
They like darkness,
Yes.
so we want the environment there to be dark. So we put an old gunia. Anything that we also bring, we allow air
Yeah.
to go inside.
Aeration, yeah.
If you put a plastic paper, it might not allow.
That's true.
You can also use old leaves, tree leaves.
Yes, you please.
Yes, as a cover.
Yes.
You collect them, you put them on top there, and they'll provide the darkness.
Yes.
So after covering it, you can now leave the worms to do their own job. You have given them food,
Yes.
you have given them water, you have given them air,
Yes.
so they are good to start.
Okay.
So that is how you start.
That's how you start. So how do you now manage? Now, once we've set everything, how is the management like? Do you come and check in every other day?
The good thing about worms is that you don't feed them every day.
Okay.
The food, if you give them manure plus vegetables,
Yes.
this can last for the next 2 to 3 weeks. They'll feed and you find that they have eaten everything.
What? So it reduces the number of...
Yes, you'll find that even if it's manure, it has changed because they have eaten.
Yes.
The maboga, you not find them there. The fruits, they have eaten.
Yes.
And the environment there will change. We usually feed the earthworms after they have finished what you have already given them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the price, because again you said that your farm is a big breeder of the worms, and of course many farmers who are watching would love to purchase. How do you sell the worms? Is it in kgs? What is the price? What would you advise someone to start with, especially if, for example, if you have a kitchen garden, what amount is required for you to start when it comes to the worms?
When you are selling the earthworms, we usually sell the earthworms or the red ones in a density of 50% worms and 50% bedding. The bedding is where they stay. Because if you remove the worms from the bedding, they can die. So whenever you are selling, there must be a bit of bedding inside.
Okay.
And that bedding is 50% bedding and 50% worms.
Okay.
Inside that bedding, there are also a lot of eggs, worm eggs. So you find you are buying the earthworms plus eggs, which you hatch, after some times.
Okay.
1 kg of earthworms is sold for Kenya shillings 2,500.
Okay.
And 2,500.
Yes.
You can start with 1 kg, you can start with 2 kg, but we usually recommend you start with at least 3 to 5 kg.
Yes.
This is because 1 kg can take you a long time to get good results.
So the more,
the better.
The better. Yes.
So depending on your requirement, if it's a small kitchen garden,
Yes.
that you don't need a lot of compost,
Yes.
you can start between 2 and 3 kg. If you are doing a bigger kitchen garden,
Yes.
you can start with half blue plastic drum.
Okay.
Requires 5 kg.
Yes,
You can
yes.
start with the less.
Yes.
But if you need more compost, you start with the 5 kg.
Yes.
Where you first of all you multiply, as we said. Then after sometimes you can start composting.
Yes.
So if you start with 1 drum, 5 kg, that will be 12,500. The capital investment with 5 kg, about 17,000.
Yeah.
You can start a structure with 5 kg.
Worth of.
And this 5 kg, if you multiply them properly, they will multiply to another 5 to 6 kg within 3-5 months.
Wow.
So you have another 5 to 6 half drums in 5 to 6 months,
Okay.
which now can give you a lot of compost.
Yeah. Now, after how long do the red worms, or rather, die? Because let's say you started with the 5 kg.
Yeah.
Of course, not all of them will continue breeding
Yeah.
over time. So how long do they take before they...
An earthworm can live from 6 to 2 years.
Oh.
And they lay a cocoon. A cocoon is not an egg. An egg is where you get it hatch into one,
Yes.
like a chick.
Yes.
A cocoon will hatch to about 3 to 5 earthworms.
Oh, wow. So they do cocoons.
So after 3 months, the earthworm will be able to, you'll be laying 1 cocoon every month. And every month, it will take a month for the cocoon to hatch to about 3 to 5 earthworms.
Yes.
So you can see the multiplication rate. They can stay for up to 2 years
Yeah.
before they die.
Yeah.
So you can see that they'll be able to work for you for all that period.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to make a lot of compost,
Yeah.
give you a lot of other small earthworms. Yes.
Okay, amazing. Now, as we wrap up, any challenges, per se, now you being a farmer of earthworms, any challenges you experience breeding the red worms?
For breeding, it's good because one of the advantages of earthworms is that they don't get sick or get diseases. They don't get diseases, and I've never seen them, but they can be eaten by safari ants.
Oh.
Have you ever seen a safari ant?
Yes.
If safari ants enter in your bed, the bad thing about safari ants is that once they know, they call their friends. And you find, and you find, they call each other at almost a radius of 1 kilometer. They'll communicate and come there. Within hours, they'll be inside there.
Yeah.
So what we do is that the structure holding the earthworms, we usually put old engine oil.
Ah.
You find that we have old engine oil.
Yes.
The smell of it will keep the ant away.
Yes.
For the concrete bed, we usually put old engine oil on the side of the wall next to the soil,
Yeah.
so that to protect our earthworms from safari ants.
Okay.
Birds is not a very bad issue because when you cover it with a gunia, a bird will not be able to remove the gunia. Chicken, ikijua, itakuja hapo, so we usually protect it from chicken.
Yes.
Chickens will come and they will eat, they can come and eat them.
Yeah.
So that the breeding challenges.
Yes.
When you come to marketing, you find people might find a kilo going for 2,500 as a bit expensive. But when you realize that these earthworms multiply very quickly,
Yes.
you know that even when you are buying 1 kg, you can look ahead and see that you have about 5 to 6 kg in another 3 months or 4 months. So they are really not expensive because they multiply quite a lot.
Yeah.
So it's really not a challenge. Is that when you are buying them, it's like an investment. You look at as a sort of an investment,
Yes.
which is going to grow. So they are not very expensive.
They're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, coming to the end of it, you could probably share your contacts, where people can find the farm, for those who'd like to see also a demonstration of how the earthworm or rather the redworm process works. So probably share your contacts where people can find you.
Before I share my contact,
Okay.
we train farmers. Here we have trained a lot of farmers. They come here, we train them. We also train students who are doing agriculture from different universities. And we have held training here with many students.
Yes.
Now, Joe Redworm Farm is located at, near Roaka.
Yes.
Roaka is next to Village Market, 2 Rivers.
Yes.
Roaka is also in between near Mochada, Dedero, Banana. So it's not very far from Nairobi. Secondly, if you buy earthworms and you cannot be able to come here, we can send them by courier or by bus.
Yeah.
In that case, if you cannot train, if you not come here for training, we can do online training. So wherever you are, you can be able to get the earthworm. If you can be able to come, you said you are pin map,
Yeah.
then you can come here at Roaka.
Okay.
That's where we are located. Our telephone is here,
Okay.
0713 032 797. You can also see our email is there, and you can see what we do. We do vermiculture, vermicomposting, vermiliquid, training, and then we have a demo farm where we grow things to show to the farmers how to use the earthworms.
Okay. All right. Now, I hope you're getting ready to, of course, maybe purchase or visit a redworm farm. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to catch us next week, same time by a different place, right here on KILIMO Diaries.